let's get started. We got a lot of ground to cover. I want to make sure that you guys get your comments in on your particular games. And again, I got 5 games. I've got like 6 pages worth of notes and stuff like that. So actually, I did 6 pages of notes. I redid the notes. I watched the videos. Or I watched the logs probably 4 to 5 times, and then we have 5 logs, and half the time it's like simply because I couldn't back up enough, you know, do an undo feature. It has a tendency to screw shit up. I'm really not really pleased at that, but
you read
that.
the AARs as well.
What's that?
I said I hope you read the AARs as well.
Yeah, the AARs are pretty good. Some of them are pretty damn good. Some are pretty damn good, but I kind of didn't want to be biased of the AR. I usually read the ARs after the fact. So what we're going to do, we are going to start with Mark D and Craig R's game. So I'm going to load that bad boy up, and then what we could do here is, so this is how I'm going to this is how I'm going to progress. What I'm going to do is I made a couple of notes on a couple turns. Again, most of these notes they're just standard comments. They're not really, I mean, you might take them as criticism, but they're standard comments. Again, what I've seen in all of these scenarios, gentlemen, and what I usually find is well, before we get started, if you zoom to about 85%, then you can see the whole. Well, in terms of my map, I get to see it from end to end, so it's kind of nice. But you could adjust to whatever zoom level you want. So, and with if you guys don't have 661 loaded, I would encourage you to do so. Or not at 661 loaded with whatever vassal you want to use. I've seen 346, 3410, 3411, whatever the hell's out there. Simply because when I was running through the log replays, and I think Mark's game had a whole shitload of like red circles bouncing around because they were discussing a whole bunch of stuff. I knew their brains were just bouncing all over the place. But during that log, the map didn't move at all. It was just a red circle moving. So it was so much nicer. You don't get like nausea from the map bouncing around all the time. If anyone's got the scenario card, could they pull it out? And I would like you to read some information from the scenario card before we get started, okay? But first thing first, what I want to do is I want to congratulate everyone that has participated in Game of the Month. I watched some of the files. I was talking with some gentlemen last night. I don't even remember who the hell it is because I'm bouncing all around. But I just want to say thanks for participating. The quality of play I saw was really, really good. And I think the best part about it, there's a, you know, when people say, oh, you can't learn anything from Vassal Logs because you don't have any voice comms for that. Well, they're full of shit. They're absolutely full of shit. If anyone tells you that, tell them you're full of shit. Simply because when I was looking through your guys' fog, and this is the entire purpose, well, not the entire purpose, but a major focus of getting multiple people playing the same game so we can analyze the games as they are and kind of look at kind of what worked, what went well, and what didn't go quite so well in some of the games in whatever plans they have. And I got to be telling you, almost every single game had a different game plan based on the offense and defense. I saw lots of different things, lots of different setups. And I was amazed on the variety of the setups. There was pretty much one constant, and that constant was R7, which is the, of course, that's going to be, that's going to be the center circle where the mini machine gun sets up. We are going to go into discussion on that hex. And in terms of the value of that particular hex. So again, I just want to congratulate everyone. Really, I got more out of this than I expected. One, I saw really good ASL play. I mean, everyone's going to make mistakes during the game, and we're probably going to cover a couple of those. Don't take them as a major criticism. It's just something. That's why we're here. We're here to get rid of. They're very small, very minor, and so it's not like, oh, you know, you put your HMG with your conscript unit with a 6+1 leader. It's nothing like that. We're way beyond that. You guys know you're way beyond that point of utilization. But looking at all the different setups you guys had, how you attack the right side, how you attack the left side, it was really phenomenal. And it only clicked this morning when I'm driving around my truck because I'm doing nothing else but thinking about squad leader. So what I saw was just the dynamics of the situation, and the way you guys handled them was really exciting to see. One thing that I learned from this scenario, and you guys will see it, and we'll cover it near the end, and hopefully we'll have enough time. Hopefully you guys will stick around for it. I don't want to drag it too late. We have a lot of stuff to cover. I'm probably talking too much right now anyway. But just in terms of sort of, it's sort of like game flow. Remember, this is a race. We need to get off the board, and everybody got to the exit hex, so that wasn't a problem. It's the manner we want to get there, and how we want to get there. Whether we want to ignore the Germans, attack the Germans, bypass the Germans, whatever. And the same thing with the Germans. Do the Germans want the Americans to get there earlier and have a greater force remaining? And that's all dependent upon how you guys want to manage your game. And I have no problem what you want to do. I think most people played, most of the German players played aggressively in terms of setting up like right up in the Americans' grill. And I saw some very good things happening from that, and I saw some very bad things, only in terms of, you know, the Americans have lots of firepower, and if you gack a roll, you're going to pay for it. And I know you guys know where you paid for your rolls. So again, it's neither here nor there. It's a high risk, high reward, that if you could pin the Americans down, you pretty much have nullified that side. And we saw that in a couple games, and we didn't see that in a couple other games. So that's just basically your game plan. I'm not criticizing your game plan at all. So I think those are great strategies to have. Matter of fact, I'm going to point out, hopefully we will get to it. But in terms of that, so does anybody have the card with them? Great, Tony's with us. Great. And by the way, John Cusack, thanks for joining us again, John. John's been away for a while, and he's managed to join us again today. So
yes.
So thank you, John, for joining us. And you don't have to ask if you want to join. Just come on in, baby. You're welcome anytime. It goes with anybody.
Thanks, Stu. I haven't played any live opponents on Vassal yet, so I'm really a newbie on this. So
no worries. That's why we like to have you here. And this you will be a great indicator on how our system here will work. And again, okay. I didn't even play this game. I mean, I've played the scenario, but I didn't participate in the game of the month. Oh, my screen's all screwed up. I didn't even participate in games of the month. What I did is I looked at it, and just because I'm trying to pick apart certain things that went right, went wrong, and other things that we could do in terms of, okay, our game plan's this, but this happened. If we changed our game plan, if we actually not change our game plan, but if we reacted to a game situation, could that screw up our game plan? Could that enhance our game plan, or whatever? And again, I'll go over a couple of those things, and those are the questions that I want to bring out, because what it does, it invokes thought. And okay, this situation presented itself. Can I maximize? Can I jump on it? Can I take advantage of it, or do I need to take advantage of it? And again, I didn't know your guys' game plans going into here. I saw some possibilities, but again, those possibilities involved risk. And I just want to make sure you guys, my green screen's screwing up a lot. I just want to make sure you guys are recognizing those situations, okay? I don't care if you take advantage of those situations. I just want you to recognize those situations, and that's all I can ask for, is if you recognize them and say, nah, not going there. I'm that's not the plan. I'm not going there. Hold on a second. This thing's a real pain in the ass. My green screen's really screwing up. And so again, what I have to say in terms of I don't call it criticizing, but analyzing your gameplay. Again, all you guys did well, and even the people that I have comments about that might have been really good for their particular play, it didn't matter because they ended up winning anyway. So, but it's just something. It's something to look at. It's something to look at. Again, just to recognize it, maybe possibly during the gameplay. I just want to make sure that you guys are looking for opportunities to take advantage of your opponent's ill luck. All right, and we might go over a couple dice rolls too. But again, errors are made in every single game. So I'm not saying, oh, you guys should have caught that. You should have caught this. But it kind of reflects back. And Mark, oh my God. Oh, I want everyone to thank Mark for being here because he brings up a lot. I got to be honest with you. This doesn't happen without Mark. And I'm just giving credit where credit's due. And Mark and John too. John brings up a lot of questions. But it just, Mark brings up so many questions. He keeps me honest on what the hell I don't know and things like that. And Mark, I think, figured out how to break this scenario in last week's comments. So I just want to say that, and we're going to cover that like near the beginning. Actually, we're going to cover that probably in the end of the scenario. We'll cover it. But right now, let's get started. I'm talking too much. That's just the way I am. But so, can someone read me the victory conditions specifically if they have their card? If not, I'll go dig it off the shelf.
I do have the card, but if anyone else wants to read, go ahead.
Go ahead, Mark.
Okay, all right, so I'll start. Okay. Victory conditions, : the American player wins by exiting greater than or equal to 1 squad or 2 half squads, and greater than or equal to 1 single man counter off Q10. For every German half squad that exits off of Q10, the Americans must exit an additional half squad, each squad counting as 2 half squads. Period.
And that's it. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, so again, the scenario game starts where? When you play this, when you sit down and play scenario, where does the game start?
Well, that's usually, as I say, that's usually about the first thing you read after you look at the map.
Scenario card. I'm just trying to hit scenario card. So reading the scenario card is really important. So let's say, for instance, so what's the OB of the Germans? Tell me how many squads are on the German side?
7.
7.
Yep.
7. How many squads are the American side?
10.
10. So if the Germans just ran off the board, the Americans can win by default, right?
Correct.
So for all intents and purposes, right, if the Germans, again, the Germans aren't going to be able to survive anything, but theoretically, let's say the American runs a stack, a 10-2 in the stack in the open, and the Germans pop him, right? Let's say he moves 3 stacks, 3 guys. He just gets it going, and they all get 3 KIA, and they all just get ripped down. The Germans can simply just run off the board and they win the game. Because the Americans can't satisfy the victory conditions at that time. The Germans just get the hell off the board because the Americans won't be able to chase them down fast enough. They could run off the board and end the game like by turn 3 because they won't be able to satisfy the victory conditions. So that just goes to reiterate, make sure you're focusing on the victory conditions. I was really happy to see, I don't know whose game it is, I gotta be honest with you. I was ecstatic to see someone throw a squad off the board. Someone ran a German guy off the board. I haven't seen that practically in any game, whether it be in our set or in just people playing the game in general, that has occurred. So I liked that initiative. The player decided, hey, I'm going to do this because either A, he might be stressed or like one side might be collapsing. So if one side's collapsing, you might want to just take those guys and throw them off the board. So how does that change? Let's say on the left, and this is what I saw in the game. This game is really a tale of two sides, right? It's the left-hand side and the right-hand side. Right-hand side, we've got, I think, 8 squads. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 squads. 6 squads on the right. I'm going to say right because it's, on the long woods where the buildings. And then the giant patch of woods is 4 squads. So it's 6-4. and that's essentially 2 battles you're fighting through there. So that's what I really looked at. It's like, you know, if you can get, if you've destroyed one side, let's say you broke a couple guys and you push them and you've essentially beaten that side, you could swap all your guys to the other side and really put a wall of units down there. I don't know if there's enough time in the scenario to do that, but I could see that occurring if you really got lucky. And I think some people did some damage early on either side, where the Americans destroyed the Germans, the Germans really beat up the Americans. So that's important to note. Also important to note, in determining your setups, and this was kind of random in terms of what I was looking at. I didn't see, I didn't notice. Let me say, I didn't necessarily notice the different setups. So, given the map as it is, and I've got my map up there, what's the advantage of the German player based on his OB? If you look at his OB, can you tell me a difference amongst his OB? Can you tell me something that's different from the OB? The Americans is all 747s, right?
Yeah, but they don't have very long range. The Germans have some nice ranged weapons, some nice machine guns.
Right. And what else do they have specifically in the multi-man counters?
Second line units.
Okay. Versus first line, is there a difference between them, or what is that difference?
Not much in the German side, except the German second line squads don't have the range the first line squads
don't have the range. On this map, where does the German need the range, or where does the German not need the range?
Needs the range on the right-hand side of the board.
Right. And the left-hand side? Does he need the range? It's all probably just going to be like within 4 hexes. There are a couple times where range has increased beyond that, but on the right-hand side especially, 12 hex range is phenomenal. It's phenomenal for that, and I think a couple of you guys felt the pain of a 12 hex range. So taking that into account, again, I didn't go into that a lot of detail on exactly where you put your units. I just kind of noticed a couple things. I noticed a couple 447s on one side. Like, if is everyone synced to this map here? Is everyone synced in? And again, I think everybody did this. And I'm not sure why. But again, it's neither here nor there. But it's just something you guys might want to look at in terms of there's a lot of 447s, 467s. There's about half and half. 4. It's 4 and 3. Okay.
3, yeah.
So 467s, obviously, you know, you might want to use them for if you're going to have a drop back defense. If you're going to punch them in the face, you only need the 447s up in the front. If you have a drop back defense, you might want to have your 467s when you're dropping back, so you can pick them off at range. Remember, when a 447 gets within range of a 747, what's going to happen on the backside of that?
Yeah, six FPs coming your way.
Right. He's in range of you. Are you going to win that fight?
Usually not.
You're not against the American. You are not going to win that fight against the American. Even 666s, you're not going to win that fight. So, again, I'm not criticizing any setup, something like that. It's just that something that you need to look for, that if you're going to defend an area, take into consideration his range. And this is a general overall effect of the game. And you'll see what happens. And what I'll do is I'll review it at the end. I think 2 games, something unusual happens. So, but we'll go into, let's see, do I want to go to it right now? So taking range into consideration, then we'll get right into the games. And this is on both sides, not just German, but on the American. So the American has short firepower range. And what I saw in a lot of the games, a lot of the Americans went down to the bottom and came across down to the bottom through the wheat fields, right? And what I saw in that sort of aspect, there were some Americans that kind of cut through the village, but most of them, especially on the left-hand side, came down through the woods, going down to O10, K9, stuff like that. What did they lack versus the Germans that were in, like, say, P6, R7, whatever? What did they lack? They lacked range, or they lacked the closeness of range. So essentially, there are 3 firepower squads firing at range versus the German And so that was kind of like an equalizer because the German was in a better defensible terrain. So even if the Americans get like 8 firepower, a lot of times they'll be firing through a wheat field or 2 into a stone building. And you see that where that 512 medium machine guns plants on the R7, and you know that's where all the coffee is. That's where all the bratwurst are, and they're in there shooting and just firing all day long. Again, so for the Americans, if the Americans want to ignore that, then they could drop smoke because they don't. If they want to disengage and not worry about that, they drop smoke and try and get off. I've seen that in a couple of scenarios. If they want to engage that, how would the Americans best want to engage R7? How would you think? Maximizing their firepower at R7.
I mean, if you're going to assault R7, you probably, you know, you want to either be in like the O6 Q6 area or the U6 V6 area.
Right. So you want to essentially what that does is, and you'll see it. What that does is it brings maximum American firepower, because morale's the same. Morale's the same on both. Maximum American firepower on R7 and in reverse. So the Americans have 2 -2 leaders and the firepower. And if they get that at range, who's going to win that exchange?
Americans every time.
Americans every time. 2 squads, and even just 2 squads by themselves, just 2 and 2, 12 plus 3 is going to win the 8 plus 2 coming back. It's almost the same shot, but the Americans have 2 of those shots. And there's another thing based on the P6 Q6. I think in this scenario, those are probably 3 to 4 times more valuable than R7. And we'll go into that in one situation. I'll bring it up and we'll cover it. I think based on the review, and again, when someone says you can't learn anything from the Vassal logs, I don't know if you guys reviewed your Vassal logs, but if you reviewed all of them, then you would see something that I eventually picked up on is like, oh, okay, because I saw what was happening to you guys in the wheat fields. It's like, damn, you're taking some tough shots. You guys just got some major balls on you, and you're just going forward. You're punching it. You're doing the best you can. Some guys won, some guys didn't win, but it was just a matter of being in a rough situation. You know, dice rolls too. But we won't go into the 2 or 3 snake eyes that I saw during the game, or maybe we will. But but that happens there. So you'll see what would happen. So when we go over those scenarios, I want you guys to look, not just look at like the end result, but sort of look at the maneuver. And again, your game plan is your game plan. And I gotta be honest with you, everyone had a different game plan, and they all almost worked out. To be honest with you, for the people that lost, they still almost worked out. And that just goes to show you that I think this is a fairly decent scenario, and it shows you a lot of different avenues to attack. So let's get started here. Just simply taking that into consideration is when you're looking at somebody else's game, look at what they did differently. And if you have questions about them, say, hey, John, why did you move there or instead of here? Because I don't need to ask the question. If you got a question, say, hey, that was kind of cool. I didn't consider your 10 - 2 doing this. You know, why did you do that? That's kind of what we're here. But I want to cut each game down to about like 15 minutes. So I just tell me to shut up. If someone's got a timer, just time me for 15 minutes. So I don't want to spend a ton of time on it. Everyone's written an AAR on this. So if you want to see the nitty-gritty details, you will see exactly what's happening here.
Got my Apple Watch. I'm gonna click 15 minutes now. There we go.
Okay, now this is. I'm sorry. Who's this is Craig's and oh my God.
Craig and Mark. Yep.
Craig and Mark. Yep. Oh, that is game 2. Gotcha. Oh yeah. Damn it, Craig. You guys always have the tough questions. You guys have some tough questions. Okay, so we're gonna start up. Another thing that's very important. Very important, gentlemen. What have we covered a lot other than routing? What have we covered a lot, especially in the last Tactical Tuesday? Order of
movement. Yeah.
Movement.
Yep.
That has come up a couple times in here, and I don't know that it really made too much of a difference, but it could have made a difference in terms of progress. So I just want to bring up I'll show you a couple examples of where order of movement would have helped one side or the other. So it's neither. So we got a 7-0 coming on here, and I love the Germans covering the spot. The Germans essentially have all that open ground covered like a bitch. I mean, do you guys see all those LOSs between those buildings? I1, H1. These are great shots, and even G1. And I mean, you got some great coverage in here. Essentially, the Germans are denying entry into the city without a major toll being taken. The 9-2 is on the left-hand side. Obviously, it looks to flank. Matter of fact, when I kind of popped this one up before I saw the 9-2, I think it's like, man, that's a hell of a move to flank on that side. I hadn't actually realized that in many scenarios. Like, hey, that's a pretty good idea. Oh, oops, dang it. So he moves here, and and this is what I saw, and this is what I have to interpret. Mark 6. What does Mark 6 look like? What does that mean that he did?
Attempted to throw smoke.
Attempted to throw smoke. So he's doing the right thing, guys. He's doing the right thing. Attempted to throw smoke. I don't care what hex he was throwing in. He tries to throw smoke and then to advance even further.
You'll notice this problem as we move on.
Yeah, exactly. So, but the smoke is good. The smoke is good. So he kind of got screwed.
Yeah, it was a good idea.
Right. And so, because Mark brought this up last week, what do you do when you get screwed and you always get shit dice rolls, right? This is going to come up. This is part of my notes that I put in Mark's game, and so this will kind of be. Hopefully, this will help Mark. And oh my God, let me click on that. So he's moved there. He took some shots. 9-2 a blast on the side, right hand side. We've got a good entourage of units on that right hand side. I like the 8-0. He's in the back. He's ready to rally. He's not up there in front. He's going to get blasted. 9-1. Good spot. You notice he's not like right in the middle. So he's committed to that side. I really like that because he's got a lot of units on the left-hand side. And he's ready to go. 8-1 in I5. Doesn't need to be directing guys because everybody in front of him is going to be taking a -2 shot. Another -1 on top of that. Do we need it? Probably not. Does it help? Yeah. But do we need it? No, because if any of these guys break in the front line, they need to be rallied fast. And so I don't mind the 8-1 being in close proximity where he can maneuver to where he needs to go. I don't have a problem with that whatsoever. So again, that's a game decision. If you want to put it with the LMG or the 447, wherever, again, that's your prerogative. And it's still very functional. You know, very, very, very functional. So Mark's jamming some guys over here, and he's hammering them on the right-hand side. He's spreading them out as much as possible. So I'm just kind of going to blow through this a little bit. And then we go through German turn 2, moves back. He's trying. I'm going to remove the dice here for a second. I'm going to remove those from the toolbar, just for now. So Mark's trying to damage. Even the Germans are avoiding the 7-0 initially. They prepped them, and they're kind of like taking the 9-2 into consideration. And they're moving deep. I like this move on the Germans, the left-hand side. He's moving units to counter the 9-2's next turn, where he's just going to blow by him. If he gets behind him, that's going to be hard because you can't really attack the 9-2. You can only really defend against that 9-2. So I like that approach. And that you notice the guys at the top, they're still defending against the 747, and they can also react to the 9-2. 8-1's very centralized. Anybody breaks, as long as they don't have an LOS to the other guy, they can go and rally. I kind of like that setup. He's prepared for broken units, is essentially what I'm looking at there. He's prepared for broken units. Same thing on the right-hand side. So, and he's got a broken unit over there. I like the aggression over here. He gets popped a couple times. That's going to happen. The pin really sucks. And that's just some good fire. Got good fire shots over the right-hand side. Nothing too much. And yeah, and then Mark has. Did you throw smoke on here? Oh, let me see. Mark, did you try to throw smoke again on that 7-0?
Yes. As you notice, this will be a theme throughout the game on this side.
Yeah.
I don't think he makes a single smoke attempt in the entire game.
Yeah. Okay. And so we're gonna get on that real quick. So American turn 1. Yep. Turn 2 order. American turn 2. Okay. I don't know where that note's from. Okay. Oh, nice. Nice. So, we're rushing the unit on the right-hand side. He's taking as many shots as possible. Really putting the pressure on. You got to put the pressure on. And we see a lot of moving and firing, right? The Americans really don't have the opportunity to prep fire, per se. So moving and firing. And it is, let's see, the Americans' turn. Yeah, Allied turn. So, and now your 10-2 on the right-hand side, Mark. What was your thoughts on rally? You put your 8-0 in the back to rally all the units, right? So he's just essentially the rally central. 10-2 is just going to be the guy penetrating. Okay.
Yeah. That's,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So like if you want to jump into some comments here, essentially where I want to focus on this here is the 7-0 coming up here, or the 10-2. The rest of it is not a big deal. So let's go to the top of 3. This is where I want to pause. The top of 3, and yeah. So 10-2's got 1 unit. Draw fire from Kane. Yeah. Okay. So we've got the situation up here. What were your thoughts, Mark, on the K2 unit? He's been having bad luck with smoke.
Yep. And so I just figured, hey, at some point I'm going to be able to. At some point I'm going to get smoke. I mean, 1 out of 2. At some point I'm going to get it, and then I can start penetrating, into the village, into like J3, I4, and try to get behind the 447 and basically have 2 prongs coming in on like the K8, L7 area.
Okay.
That's what I'm trying to.
Okay. No, gentlemen. And again, it's not Chris. What are the victory conditions in this game? What did the Americans get extra in this game? They get the balance, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So they have a free leader, So if we get a leader off, and this is a thought that came into my mind simply because of Mark's bad luck. Thanks for that, Mark.
Yeah.
Because Mark's having difficulty with that 7-0 and 747. This is Allied turn 3, and he's 3 hexes in the fight. So he's having a tough time with that 7-0. And this is sort of the similar problem that I had in my ambitious assault. My troop kind of stagnated on the right hand side, and I didn't know what the hell to do with them. And I just sat there and I just got shot and just lost. I lost the game on turn 2. So Mark is having a tough time with this 7-0. And we're going to see some more tough times, and we're going to go to discussion. So I don't think I clicked on the map. So we are going to rally face. He's rallied. Now the 9-2 is busting ass. All right. And all these other guys are.
At this point, I was feeling like I was on my heels.
Yes. Yes.
I was just about to get beat handily.
Right. And can you guys see where Craig's dismay is occurring?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Over
look
there on the far right, you've got basically 3 units, kind of out of position. I mean, they're going to be watching a lot of paratroopers go towards the victory hex.
Right.
Yeah. That was basically, as I said, from Craig's initial setup. That was kind of my plan. He'd given me the far flank, so I figured, all right, the 9-2s are going to rush. The 9-2 will rush. And the squads on the side, I figured, well, I saw where he had set up a lot of his guys kind of in here and back here. I said, well, if I can keep them isolated off in that corner, they're out of it. I'm between them and so I just felt that it was, keep them isolated and swing around the corner. So.
Right. And what does Craig have down the bottom right that you guys noticed that we pointed out in the beginning of the game? EE8. Down here. What's he got? Double click.
Well,
Machine gun down there, right?
And a
Yep.
4.67.
And a 4.67.
And 4.67. The 6.7 can fire a Y6 at full firepower. That's extremely important. If he had the 4.47 there, he's only firing like right here, and the Americans just laugh at him and go by, you know, for all intents and purposes. So he's got the right unit with the right weapon. That thing is 6 firepower out to 6 hexes, and 3 firepower out to 16 hex, or 1 firepower to 16 hexes. So he essentially has the entire road covered, even though he's, quote, out of position. Is that the best position? Probably not, but that's a great position for him to be in.
yeah.
What's the one thing that's going to screw Craig over in this situation? The one thing that could really just, I mean, I know he's worried about it. What do you guys think Craig doesn't want to have happen from the Americans? What one thing the Americans could do to nullify this guy's position? For the most part. Smoke.
Yeah.
One smoke grenade and BB6 cancels most of his fire on that road. One smoke grenade.
Just watch what happens.
Yeah, and then how many smoke grenades are we tossing, gentlemen? We have 5 squads that can drop smoke. And if you are the Americans, and if you see X, do not hesitate to drop smoke. If you have 1 movement factor left over, and this is one thing, if you play the Americans in all your American games further on, it will come into play right here at the bottom left. If you have 1 movement factor left over, and you're not moving anywhere else, and nobody else is moving in your hex that needs all their movement factors to get there, throw smoke. You never know what's going to happen. Remember the properties of smoke. Is it inherent terrain, or is it just kind of like, if it goes through the hex? Inherent terrain. So that means if you draw a line of sight along the hex side where the smoke is at, it counts as +2. So if the American over here drops smoke in CC6 for some reason, and then he moves another squad over to Z6, is the 4.47 going to be affected? If he drops the smoke here, and the American, let's say the American, I don't want to move in these units because it'll really screw up.
American moves into BB6, then
American moves to Z6 or BB6. This guy's firepower is affected by it. So you don't have to place it like to make it like really obvious right here. This is just as good as a placement. Now, obviously, it's slightly better because you got this guy here. But a lot of times you don't need to, because let's say a squad's here, right? And you want to move him. You could drop smoke in your hex first and then leave, right? Because if he fires on you, you're gonna get the benefit of the smoke. So if the 10-2 and the 7.47 here, he drops smoke for 1, and then he goes 2.5, 4, and then 5, 6 or something like that, wherever, 5, 6. And so the smoke is left kind of like a fart left behind, and then the 4.47 has to deal with that fart. So smoke, if you're not doing anything else, and you got 1 movement factor remaining, I just want you guys to start using some smoke, just kind of willy-nilly, to be honest with you. And so what I was worried about the 7.47 is, and we'll get to it here. So they're doing a lot of discussion here. I think there's a lot of discussions popping through here. Again, the map's not bouncing around, thank God. So he's dropping. Look at this one's mine. Sorry.
Now Mark gets his smoke.
Yeah. So look at what's happening here, and I know Craig's gripping it here. It's like, oh shit. The thing flipped. So there he goes. There he goes.
Watch this.
There he goes.
And then
disaster strikes.
And then Craig's ass hurts really bad because he pulls the shot out of it. and it's crazy. Now, mind you, let's look at the dice rolls, gentlemen. I don't want to rain on anybody's parade. Snake eyes. Okay, what's the firepower and modifiers of this shot? Now, mind you, snake eyes is bad. I don't care what you say. But, Mark, this is what you need to look at. And anybody else. Snake eyes is bad. If there's no leader there, what's the first thing you say that makes you happy?
Cower.
Yes.
He's final fired. He doesn't get to shoot anybody else. That's the first thing you really need to keep your focus on. Although he had a leader, didn't apply. But my point is, Snake Eyes, first thing you say, okay, you're a coward. And then look to see if he's got a leader firing or whatever like that. What's the firepower of that attack?
I
And
think
what
it was a 4.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I don't remember whether it was Well, let's see. Well, certainly long range.
Yeah,
One,
because it was long range for the squad and the light machine gun.
yeah. So I don't. Yeah. So I'm assuming you didn't fire the light. I'm assuming it was just what, a 2?
Yeah, it must have been.
okay.
Must have been a 2. Yeah.
So 2 firepower. What are the modifiers?
-1 for -1 +1 cancels each other out, and then -1 for my non-assault movement.
Okay. And that's a
Isn't
clear
that-
shot, right? Clear shot.
Holy
That's
mackerel.
a major bullshit right there.
Now, Mark will point this out. So he was doubly regretting it because he didn't have to go to that hex.
No,
Right.
His, and
if
go
I'd
ahead,
gone
Mark.
to X8, it would have done everything I wanted to do, because my whole point was just to get to W9 at the
Right.
end of the space. Just advance to W9, give myself a little cover from the machine gun, and just, and then continue my dash. If I had been at 8, there would have been 5 hindrances between me and him.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
maybe even 6, maybe 08. I don't think you could have fired on you at that
Yeah,
point.
Been able to see me if I had gone to X8.
Oh,
Which
1,
would
2,
have-
3, 4,
Would have
5.
been, yeah, it's like 5. It would have been plus what? It would have been
Yeah.
plus 5.
Yeah.
Shot.
So
No.
so immune to fire in this hex, or actually immune to fire in this hex, and
blasted smithereens in that hex.
and then
Yep.
Craig gets a really major, but pulls a giant one out of his ass on this one here. So even though he's CX, that's hell. And so and you roll now. What are you guys rolling here for? That's a 1 KA, right?
Yeah, it was 1. I'm assuming it was, because I think it ended up being a 1 KIA, and so we had to decide which unit got hit, and it was basically, I think 1 to 3 was the leader, 4 to 6 was the
Oh,
squad.
because I only saw
4.
one die roll. I only saw one
Yeah.
die roll. It's like, wait a minute, did they do it? So that explains a lot. So
we were 2 units, so we just figured 1 to 3. I just said 1 to 3 leader, 4 to 6 squad.
brilliant. Okay, cool, excellent. Now, mind you. Oh yeah. In starter kit, random selection only happens against one person. In ASL,
Like full ASL.
they all can die with the 1 KIA if you all roll Yahtzee. So keep that in mind for you guys that play ASL SK and ASL or want to go into ASL, random selection can pick more than one guy when only one guy needs to be selected. So that's where I got confused from that aspect. Like, well, one die? Did he just roll random selection for one guy? So anyway, you'll see that this 10 -2 is a badass. He doesn't give a shit about breaking. So you'll see this. So again, not a I don't have a problem in you making that mistake. I wouldn't have seen that shot either. I just wouldn't. But again, if your destination is Y9 versus V8, then take the safe route. Always then make him deny that shot there, because again, if you're an X8, can this unit over on the right hand side see you there as well?
Oh yeah, I mean, even in X8, he can see him. but
Right,
then
right.
it's-
X8, but obviously the little stupid building is Z8's pretty thin. But if it were kind of like a little hodgepodge building like this, he's got LOS to both of them. But if it's close, make him guess. Maybe he'll get a block shot so he can't fire on the next guy moving and things like that. So
Right,
again,
but-
it doesn't really matter. This guy had a potential. Well, actually, he first fired again. But
He first fired, so he couldn't fire right now. But again, X8 would have at least been 2 hindrances for the orchard. So it wouldn't. It still wouldn't have been, and it would be at that point it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, be long range. So, a long range at least for the squad. So it would have been only like a 4 firepower.
yeah. So great shot, CX again. This guy's got nothing else to do, right? The guy in L9 or L6, L7, he's got nothing else to do but fire that direction. Not because these other guys moved. I mean, they just simply moved, but he just didn't have any targets. So he was like, okay, if he had a target over here, not saying that, I mean, obviously, if this was a half a move later, he may be firing at somebody over here first, which you'll see. And so that's just like That's just a timing thing. Mark was trying to just really put the pressure on and really close the door. I don't have a problem with that, because guess what happens when this guy gets through? The Germans are really scrambling at that point. The Germans are really scrambling at that point, and they really have to collapse to defend the exit hex. So I don't mind that at all. Again, that's his plan. He tried it. It happened not to fail. Any other dice roll, he walks away a hero, to be honest with you. That's all there is to it. So don't well, the Snake Eyes is a great shot, but it's just things that happen. That's a game breaking, that's a game winning situation. Or even if it's not game winning, Craig is really gripping it now. He's only got one guy broken over here. This guy's going to rally next turn, and he's final fired, and he hasn't done any damage on that side really. And so and he's getting pressured really hard over here. This is hard pressed German attack here. So mind you, something like this can really demoralize and cause your opponent to make.
Yeah, I think I was whining about it for about what, an hour.
Geologic time, that's nothing.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
So
We're at about 20 minutes there, Stu. We should move along.
okay. The last point right here is what I want to make. So he routes back here. Now here, what would I suggest this unit do? The Americans have to move forward. What would I rather see that unit do? The guy on the right, the routing guy. He was an AA5. Look at your terrain. Right?
Oh, so so the idea is he doesn't have to route, so leave him where he is.
Leave him where he is because he's not rallying next rally phase, right?
Yeah.
Because that's, well, he can get here. He needs a 5 to rally, right? So not a big deal. If you move back here, he needs a 5 to rally. But when you move these guys, they'll probably either move together or separately. If he's up here, is the German going to fire on him when he has 3 747s up in the front? Probably not. Probably not. He's got other shit to worry about, especially since you've cut him off. He's going to be pounding these guys. And this guy most likely, now albeit as long as he doesn't get ready to fire with his 9-1, which he probably will, especially since Mark's luck's been kind of meh. So he can be ripped up as well. But, you know, you're looking at a full movement phase to get back to AA5. And we're going to be heading into Ally turn 4. So that means this guy has 3 movement phases to get from BB2 to the exit. So if he's another movement phase ahead, he's got 3 movement phases to make up, 8 hexes or something like that. Again, just in terms of timing, and just weigh the risk of that unit being there. Now, if he was the only one there, and you had no other defending units or other attacking units that are pressing people, then yeah, you get him back to safety as best you can. But if the opponent has other targets of opportunity, especially if this guy survives, there ain't no way in hell this guy's firing on that broken unit. That's 100%. This guy's firing on here 100% of the time. Unless he thinks, okay, if I destroy everything on this side, this guy's going to cover the exit, whatever. But this is a major threat. A broken guy in the middle of 3 747s isn't a threat. So consider that in your routes, gentlemen. Can he move? He's going to move on the 8-0, and can the 8-0 move him up? Yeah. But again, that precludes the set. So now he most likely, if he rallies them both, most likely he'll move them both together in a stack to get them all moving. So somebody's slow behind. But again, that's a preference. If you think he's in danger, if you think you want to run, just consider that. And in your next games, see how just let your opponent react to those broken units. If he ignores them because they're broken, guess what happens when they come when you rally an 8 on that guy next turn?
Yeah.
You're right up in his grill. Right up in his grill. So just consider that. If you've got other things to distract him, again, if he's not distracted by other units, then by all means get him to safety. And now the 7-0 is what I really want to look at. Turn 3 over here, and oh my god, I didn't click on that. So the 10-2 happens to, I just want to we'll go through this real quick. So they go into the great discussion, a great a giant fire phase over here. The 8-1 move down over here. 8-1 was back. Okay. I think it's turn 3. My bad. Turn 3 on that one.
victory axis. Yep.
Okay. So the axis is to get to a central point. And now... Oh, yeah, here we go. So now the American moves again at turn 4. I think, was this another die roll of 4 of smoke?
Yeah, it's probably another one. Yeah, another die roll 4 smoke. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, he just, yep.
Okay. Right here, gentlemen. If he rolls a die roll of 4, okay, and he doesn't drop the smoke, in my opinion, what does he have to do? In my opinion. What does he have to do?
Assault move to J2.
Assault move to J2, or what else could he do? Remember, at this is ally turn 4. He has 2 turns to get from here to here.
You could advance out into the road, the advance phase. Wait until the advance phase at least, and then just advance out.
Right. What I would think, and this is again high risk, simply because Mark has had really bad luck with this guy. Really bad luck. The leader still can help save the day. This guy's in the open over here. This guy's in the open over here. He has nobody to fire with him. So he has one leader that's going to be taking a six even shot or something like that, and a 10-2, which is, well, he could actually, the 10-2. I wouldn't consider a 10-2 unlikely to get off. It's just simply his 10 morale is just going to get him off. But he needs a squad off. So, in my opinion, and I'm not saying Mark played this wrong or nothing like that, but at this point, if he doesn't move from this position, this 447 has just essentially, for all intents and purposes, eliminated these units. They're no longer going to be in the game for game purposes. For all intents and purposes. In terms of them getting off, mind you. Now this 447, then in this turn, he could drop back here, and then the Mark would move up here next turn, and then drops back here, and then he moves up here, and that's the end of turn 6. So, at least the 7-0, you can either move together or move independently. I'm not sure which he chose to do, whether he moved him as a stack. But if you fail, you simply keep moving. You take, so if that's 2, then he could go like 3, 4, 5, 6, or move independently. 2, and then, like you say, then assault move. And if this guy fires at him and breaks him, then this guy goes 1, 2, 3, 4. Because what happens then is this guy, if he doesn't move, he doesn't contribute to the rest of the game. What allows him to do is, one, if the Americans are making moves down here, maybe across the road, this guy's going to be pressed, or like you say, he might assault move over here, or 2, 3, and then the 447 is likely going to fire, right? Well, in that case, again, if the leader moves up here, he could be subsequent first fired on. So, is he going to break? It's a good chance he will break. But if the 7-0 can make it over here, right? He's got pressure on this side. So the 8-1, 3, 6, 3, 8, and 4, 6, 7 are going to be looking at pressure. He's got one squad over here holding off 3 squads. That's not going to happen. This guy's going to break eventually. And he's got his victory point leader here, that if he moves here, while these guys are attacking at the same time, then do I fire here or do I fire at these guys? This guy could then just walk off the board, and now you only need the squad. You've got 1/2 of your victory condition available to you. So, is this a good situation for the Americans up here? No. No, but make the best of it. Make the best of it. Give the 7-0 a chance to get, even if he advances over here, does this guy move here to counter the 7-0? We don't know. And then with regards to the smoke down the bottom left, I think they were in I-9. If he moves 2 into here, drop smoke on the hex or drop smoke in your own hex. If that, let me see, is that an order of movement? Hold on one sec. And then we'll go to the next game. I'm sure this is going to screw up at this point. Oh, damn it. Yep. Please.
You're still okay so far.
Yeah. I don't know. I wanted to show the order moving down here, and then we can go to the next game. Oh, crap. I don't think it's going to undo. That's a problem with the undo feature. Yeah, it's all screwed up.
Yep.
What I think what happened was, I think he moved. Did he move here first, Mark, or did this guy move first? I'm not sure. I'm not sure if he moved there first or not. But take a look at your log again, and these units down here. If this was the situation, you could take into, of course he hasn't moved. I think he moved
Right.
there.
So your idea is to move into J8 first, and then smoke the hex.
Or what you could do is you can move here. Let's say he just moves 2 there, right? Because I don't know if I don't know if he was back here because the stupid log doesn't back up. If he moves 2 into here, drop smoke into here. Even if this position, if that's his destination instead of this one, right?
Yep.
Then drop smoke on him, and that way he could advance onto him. So even if he first fires here, then he doesn't get the subsequent first fire with the even shot. It's a +1. So drop your smoke, even if that's all the further you're going, you got 2 more movement factors left. Drop the smoke, make your die roll. There's a non-mark roll, and he drops that smoke. And if that guy's only moving to that location, just drop it. So that's 3 movement factors, and then at that point, it's hard for him to shoot at him. And even if he does shoot at him, then you could look at other opportunities where something like this can happen. I don't remember where you move this guy. But this was just another situation here where if you're just going to move 1 hex or so, drop your smoke in. Or if this guy here, maybe he was good. What he could do is he could drop smoke there, and then he could move up here, and this unit can come down 1, 3 or something like that. So it doesn't really matter who drops the smoke. They both can do it based on, wherever. You could always switch guys up. So anyway, this is a smoke possible situation, and then we'll go with that. So.
Oh, cool. Good.
But I don't think it made a difference there. Like I said, I don't think it made a difference there. But because you just crushed them in close combat, and so, but it can, right? Like your move over in W8, it can make a difference. Just that one move can make a difference. And you see the 447s falling back here in the middle, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now your 7-0 came down. He kind of let the window open because he's pressured. You pressured him down here, and you let the window open. And now the 7-0 actually had a chance to kind of come through.
Right.
And now
but the cost is 9-2.
Yeah, and now he's got
roll and killed off the 9-2 leader. So 9-2 got like I think probably rolled box cards in a 6 or something like that.
Yeah. And so here's the rest, and Craig's just gripping on that 10-2, and you make a good push here. Nothing wrong with these pushes.
Just ran out. The last squad couldn't get off. The final squad was running across from K10, L9, M9, whatever. Got into 08 and just got snapped by the residual, and that was it. So,
right. Absolutely. So overall, a good push, good recovery for Craig. Look where he's got his guys. He's pulled them off the things. He's got them in good positions. A couple broken guys here. I mean, that's going to happen. No big deal. They can be good order or not. But he tried to make an adjustment. Look where the medium machine gun is. Is he an R7? Nope. Doesn't need to be. He's going to be closer because if 10-2 here, what's that? Point blank shot, guys. Point blank shot. That's a hellish firepower right there. And then he goes on through here. So he made an adjustment right there, and you were just short on the time. Again, you kind of got there, not a problem. So this is a good little fight. Again, I saw the pluses and minuses on both sides. You made good push on one side. The 10-2 just got caught with his pants down on one shot. So in this game, pretty much that was our only thing here. And that's just, I don't think anybody would have seen that shot. I wouldn't have seen that shot. I would have got caught with it too. So it's not a big deal.
Yeah, Stu, the 2 things that swayed it for me was that one, obviously, and that was just I just got lucky with the line of sight and lucky with the snake eyes.
Yep.
The other part that gave me a glimmer of hope. And then the other part that suddenly opened things up for me was that same leader in squad who had been over there making that long range shot had fired down on his 9-2 in squad down here. And like Mark said, it broke his leader and pinned his squad.
Yeah.
And then in the rally phase, his box cars followed by a 6. And the squad then broke because of the leader loss morale check.
Oh my gosh.
That just knocked the wind out of the rest of his assault. And that gave me, as close as this was, it was only because of those 2 really lucky shots.
Right. Yeah. And now notice, gentlemen.
Sorry, you take advantage of the opportunities that are given to you.
Right. Yeah.
You know, and that's it. You know.
Yeah, exactly. Mark had advantages in this one. He tried to take advantage of them. It didn't work out for him, and then Craig on the backside had the same thing. He had a couple things work well for him, or happened to fall into his lap, and he went with that. I just want you to guys look where the Americans are. Through the wheat fields. Okay, so this is game essentially game 2 through the wheat fields, and let's.
The other thing, Mark, I would just want to point out that I hadn't really thought about until he told me. He was going to get a leader and a squad off, and then his plan was to basically put. I think, Mark, tell me if I remember.
Yeah. My plan was
7-0 leader.
Yeah, the 7-0 leader, which is now wounded, he was going to advance into Q10.
Yep.
And just
And
block
me from exiting.
Yep.
Keep him from exiting. So that was kind of the plan. Yep.
Yeah, fun game. Like I say, the only two really takeaways from this one from me. I'm sorry if I got spare winded. Is although you move the 747 down here, when I first saw it, it's like holy shit. Turn 4, that guy is far from the exit, and at that point I would have done something desperate. Bait the shot for the 747, just failed smoke, then assault move. Like John was saying, just assault move out there. He shows J2, I would assault move him here. That's only 8 -1. If he gacks the roll, he's alive, and then you jump in close combat, and now this guy's screwed. So, and then the 7-0, I would still run around this way. Because if he breaks, this guy breaks at turn 4, if you rally him on turn 5, does it make a difference? No, not really. I mean, he might have some firepower later on, but he could self-rally. He's going to self-rally in turn 5 without a leader. That's all because
at least there's a chance. It's a good, decent chance. Yeah.
Right, exactly. With the 8, it's either an 8 or a 9. So because the 447 is still going to come back here, he's not going to care about this guy over here. So and then 7-0 kind of makes his way around. So anyway, like I only say 2 little things here. It didn't really, just things to think about in your next games, where especially when that guy was just, he had a bad day. He was the first unit he moved, and he had a bad day from the rest of that time. So he did come down here and try to make it off. He did get close. Anyway, let's go to the next one. Thanks for playing that one, guys. Let me load up the next one real quick. Thanks for the timer. Thank you so much. I'm sorry I went over. In this particular scenario, my notes on this one here, it says, for John, it's between John P. I think John's a German. I think John was the German, and Chris A. was the American. And I've got a couple turns, but the notes that I have start on turn 4. So, in this particular scenario, oh my God, load up already. So in this particular scenario, I think John. Yeah, here we go. Set up. Oh wow, yeah. Check this setup, people.
All right, so we sync to you?
Yeah, sync to me. This really threw me considering all the other setups. I'm glad this one came up second.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, this one's gonna take a minute. Oh, there it goes. I got mine.
All right, let me know when you guys are in.
Okay.
And so my first note says German gives ground. That's just the note I have. So the other game you'll see the other games where the Germans are like hardcore on the right hand side, hardcore on the left hand side. John chose to be more of a centralized defense, to have all of his units near the middle. Again, this is what I like to see, is there's a difference of how you set up and how you perceive what you need to do to win the game. So it's really cool. And then center American turn 4. So everyone good?
Yep. No,
We're here.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm just going to burn through it. I think my notes start on American turn 4. So I'm going to kind of... Americans busting aft on the left-hand side. Again, he's got free movement, so it's not that big a deal. And the Germans are taking the pot shots that he can using the range that he has. Again, right-hand side. What do we got over there on the right-hand side, gentlemen? In Z7.
Oh, the
You got the meeting.
Light machine gun and a 4.67.
4.67 for range. In case the American thinks he's badass, he's going to get shot to hell if he goes over here. So John's got this entire side covered. Short range for this guy. If he pops up into here, we still have that covered. So not a problem. Good 4.67 placement here. And over here it's pretty much short range, so not that big a deal. So, but considering he's consolidated his defense already, not a problem. Americans are CXing. He's prep firing. Let me see. Okay, the turn counter's right in the middle. Okay, good long range. Who do we have down here in the bottom left, gentlemen? J9.
467.
467 for range. Even though he's popping through a hindrance, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He's not giving the open ground. He's giving him the woods, which will slow him down. He's not giving him the open ground. 447 move fires to here, and F8, he can give the open ground to there, especially through here, because that'll be a two even shot. So
Yep.
the 467s are essentially where they need to be, in my perspective. Very subtle things like that, gentlemen. Very subtle things. You think, 447s, 4. They didn't want to give me whatever. In a couple key setup areas, especially in this pipe, the two 467s just on the flanks, just those two guys. Everyone else is like, yeah, they're close in city. Those guys are can make a real big difference on how far they can shoot. Between a 6 chart or a 4 chart, or a 4 chart and a 2 chart, it makes a big difference. Does he give him the stone building? Yeah, who cares? He's just trying to slow him up. You know, he's a 9-2. A 4 shot's really not going to do much against a 9 morale year later. We got some good smoke on the left-hand side. Guys are moving up. He gets a decent shot. I don't know what the deal is with the 10-2, but everyone seems to break under that guy. It seems like in every single game, whoever the 10-2 was stacked with, they got shot. They got killed. So
he makes up for it at the end of the game. Trust me.
yeah. Okay. So then we got the Germans again. A box solid set defense. Americans are pressing hard the right-hand side. I'd be gripping over here. This is like major pucker factor right here. Down the bottom right, it's major pucker factor.
Yeah.
And so we're firing our best shots here, and well, we got a good shot over here. Broken guy over there on the left-hand side. Look at the smoke. Smoke looks good. Covers the road. Mark, take notice.
Well, you know, I thought,
Chris A's dropping some smoke, and
yeah, smoke is very streaky for me. I will go through periods where I'm just trying to throw smoke and I will not get it for like 10 or 15 attempts.
yeah, your smoke is like my ambush rolls. You know, you roll 5s for your smokes, I roll 5s for my ambush rolls. So,
Yeah.
so anyways, good use of smoke, and guess what? Allsberg down here. This guy's what? First fired. Is he safe?
Yes.
Yep, 100%. Free ride. And that's nothing to say against John or anything like that. He's shooting this guy. Hey, he's point blank. And if this guy can move down here, but he's still got that covered. Matter of fact, he's got I-10 covered, because guess who's down here?
Yep.
That's 2-2. I don't know. Yeah, he probably didn't want to go. I don't know if John missed that or something like that, or maybe he. Yeah, this could have been a 2-2 there. I didn't even see it until now, and I reviewed this one like 3 times.
Yep. Yeah. That would have been a nasty little shot.
So that could have been a nasty little. That could have been a nasty Craig shot right there.
I missed it. Yeah.
No, it's all right. Like I say, it's not a big deal. Simply because it's like a little sliver. I didn't even see it until right now. But this guy's in trouble here. Not a big deal. He's tried his best to shoot these guys, and he final fired, and things like that. And so that just happens. The Americans get close. They dish out some damage. That's okay, as long as they're trying to slow them down. Not a problem. And all you can do is just try to rout away. And try to make the best situation. This is nasty over here. The close combat. So I do like the close combat. Even if the American gets pinned in this close combat, the rest of the game, what does that do?
It ties up that German unit, and he's not able to shoot at anybody.
Ties up the
Whoever's
German
around
unit.
and go around.
That's right. If the Americans jump into close combat on a 1-for-1 basis to all the Germans, they win. Normally, in a game where you need to exit or get to a certain position or take whatever, you might say, "Oh, I never win close combats and this, that, and the other." One, the American has the advantage in close combat all the time. This is a 2-to-1. Well, actually, almost it's a 3-to-2 here, but if the leader wasn't there, it's a 2-to-1. Can you get screwed in close combat? Yes, but even if he doesn't get screwed and he ties them up, although there's a leader there, not a big deal. We have 3 other leaders, so he's tied up. He's nullified now. Essentially, he's looking at these 2 units, and so he's essentially eliminated half of his force, a third of his force on the right-hand side, and he still has a ton of units to come on. So, and he has the advantage in the close combat. If he fails that close combat, he's got 2.5 other squads that can just finish him off. So not worried about that. Let's get to turn 4. Wow. See, these guys progressed a lot. really hardcore pushing. But it's still tight. You see the Americans are spread here, real tight for him. And the Americans got a good solid force. He took the Germans over there, and he's got an LMG out of that. Look at the 7-0 here. What's he doing?
He's getting ready to make life really interesting for the 8-1.
8-1. This guy's pinned. This guy's not. Who's that? Bunch has got some bunches of balls right there. This I think is the key to the scenario. Not necessarily close combat, but pressure. If this German wasn't pinned, he's tons of pressure. That's essentially equivalent firepower, right? 747 is a 7 firepower versus 7 firepower. You know, it's a matter who makes that roll. And the Americans have supplementary units that can jump on it. He can smoke here and reinforce, go to the backside. These guys can string back around, come to the backside. And this is the safest cover to approach our R7 hex, like we were discovering before. If all these units were to swing up through here, I don't know if they do or not. If they all swing through here, or even if only one goes there, doesn't matter. This guy is now looking at a 7 or a 6 or 12 firepower at close range, and this guy's going to worry about these other guys. So this is a strong move. I like the close combats that's happened so far. He got pinned, so he kind of got screwed. Americans are pushing hard here. Again, look what's happening here. Look what Chris does. He says, I'm going to close combat and living shit out of you. He takes the first final fire shot here. I don't know if he cowered, but he's jumping there. And he's got guys behind him. Gavin, you don't want that guy in close combat with you. Bad things will happen. You'll be heading home for the war early if he jumps in that hex with you. So it's looking good on that. And he's taking the hard cover here. So he's making his move. He actually rallied. I think those guys were DM'd when he rallied them. Lots of good hard fighting here. Advanced fire. Nobody kind of like does anything. And the reason why is because we got +3 buildings, gentlemen. +3 buildings. Both players are taking advantage of the +3 buildings. Really good. Really good. And, Ostberg on the bottoms being safe. He probably assault move there or what have you. Oh, I think he got hammered. I think he got hammered.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. There's John Snakes.
That was one of my 2 lightning strikes.
Yeah, there's John Snake Eyes right there. And he's got ready to fire with that. So that puts a damper on Chris in that sort of aspect.
Not doing very well in this
I believe the phrase was manna from heaven, right, John?
Yeah.
Hey, heaven, hell, I don't care. So
Yeah.
it's just mana.
Right. And so we've got Chris firing point blank range. Good shot. 12 plus 3 is an excellent shot. And yeah, this is how it turns. Both scenarios that we've seen so far, we've got important units happen to get popped lucky, and the shit happens. Shit just hits the fan, people. And I'm sure he probably assault moved there. I'm not sure if he did or not. Chris is here. I'm not sure if he assault moved in there or not, Chris. But
I'm pretty sure he assault moved there because what he was trying to do, he was trying to take out that one paratrooper there, at L10, for failure to route.
Okay.
And he was sitting there in the open, so I decided I was torn between moving over to P6 to cover the exit hex or take the shot at Osberg. And it was a real coin flip because I knew I was getting a lot of pressure from Brunch to 7-0. And I decided I'll just take the shot, and I rolled snakes, and that's
the right guy.
Okay. One thing I just happen to notice right here. If he's moving there to eliminate that unit, right?
Yeah.
What kind of target is he presenting to Hoffman versus this guy? If you got, and this is very very similar. This is exactly what we covered last week, gentlemen. Although the situation is much juicier on our end. This is exactly what we covered last week. We have a target here, point blank, 12 firepower plus 2, right? This is a good shot. Osberg down here.
12 plus 3.
Well, the -1 leader. I'm adding the -1 leader in that.
That's right. Yeah.
So we get so we had 12 plus 2, That's a tough shot. I mean, even 12 plus 2, yeah, rolls, might get a normal morale check out of it. That's still pretty decent. This guy, we don't give a shit about him because we got leader here, because he needs to get a leader off, right?
Mm-hmm.
The 10 minus 2's over here, and the 8-0 is going to try and snake his way out the door. Mueller's got a lot of decisions to think about over here. He's getting pressed. Mueller really can't address this shit over here right now. He's probably thinking hard, how am I going to shoot these guys? So, if the intent is to eliminate this unit and not just move these units up, what might we want to do to minimize, and even though it's going really well for the Americans, and when you're playing your games, of course we can't expect Snake Eyes to come out, so I'm not saying that was a normal thing. But if a normal roll from this guy is a 7, that's going to be a 1 morale check on that shot there. Can the Augsburg fail a morale check?
Sure.
Can, but not likely.
Right. So it's an 8, and then these guys, if he gets pinned, these guys are likely going to break because he won't be able to apply his leadership modifier. Now, if the idea is to crack him, what's another way we could crack him? If he smoke, first of all, smoke there with the 747 that's moving into that hex, right? I don't know if that was attempted or not, so I didn't see the dice rolls. And actually, I didn't even see it until now. If the intent is to eliminate this unit, smoke there to advance and advance. Well, you can't advance. Smoke and just move your 747 there, right? Not a big deal. Then the other 2 units, the 747 Augsburg, can do what? He can move 2, 4, 6, right? He might take a shot here at a 6 even, but that's better than exposing 2 squads and your leader to a 6-1. You know, if he just fires the defensive fire phase and not the movement phase. If he fires the movement phase, that's a 6-2. Because the open ground and the -1 leader is a 6-2. So if the intent is to break this unit, just move 1 guy, scoot him forward, right? Augsburg moves up here, and now what do we have when Augsburg moves up here with his other unit? In the advanced fire phase.
Stack. Yeah.
How much firepower is that in the advanced fire phase?
Oh man, that's going to be 8.
That's an 8 up 1.
+1.
Yeah, 8 up 1. Not bad. Now we do have Mueller over here. That's firing back at us. That might be a thing, but you're in stone building. So again, this is a sweet shot. I'm not saying this is terrible. It all depends on what this guy wants to do. If he just wants to continue down here and put the major pressure on him, not a problem. But this is a high risk. If you're in open ground, you really want to kind of spread out a little bit in the open ground when you're looking at any -1 leader. So could he have done that with a 6 chart or 4 chart or 2 chart? Yeah. Again, the dice are going to come. But if these units break, what happens to this unit down here? What happens to the German unit if all those units break?
They don't have to do anything.
Right. They don't die. The Germans are still alive.
Yeah.
So, and then these guys have to route because they're in normal range of these guys. So these guys would have to at least go back to K9. So not a big deal. And then
that is basically what happened.
Right. And so and then you have a potential self rally from this unit over here. And then he could actually put the pressure on Augsburg. So we'll go past that. But again, I didn't even see that till now. He got a lucky shot, but shit like that happens. And again, I'm not saying Chris screwed up there or anything like that. I think that's high pressure. I would think that he would fire here as well, but maybe John said, "Hey, I got a -2 shot I got to take." So again, not a big deal for that.
It was a real coin flip.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, -1 because it was prep fire phase. So
yeah, -1 prep fire, absolutely. Yeah, -1. So not a problem with that. And at least he advanced in there. I don't have a problem with that whatsoever. But it's just it's hard. Anytime there's a -1 leader hanging around, it's rough. And you got a -2, it's pretty rough. But anyway, he's making good progress regardless. Again, Hoffman backs up, and this guy's going to self rally anyway. So we don't really care about that. He broke. He's going to self rally. So the 747 does the same thing the 9-2 is doing, DMing all these guys. We're making good progress as the Americans. What's he doing over here? Look at the right hand, gentlemen. Spreading out. Remember, he had that stack of 3. He spreads them out. And now this 447, where does he have to go? Nowhere. he's in trouble. He's got to get a good shot, and if you're relying on lucky shots, you're probably going to lose. Not that that's a bad spot, because guess what? The Americans have been there for about a turn and a half. It's turn 5. Can the Americans get off from this location? Yep. Can the squads, can these guys right here get off from this location?
No.
They can't get off. What can they do?
They can engage the 447 in close combat.
Right.
They can smoke.
They can smoke, and they can engage in close combat to pin guys down. Essentially, since he can't get off, if he jumps in close combat and survives, that unit is eliminated for all intents and purposes in the game, because these guys can't get off. Even the 337 jumps up there and just kind of laughs at him or something like that. So what can the 747 do in this situation? Let's say that, well, we'll just go on. I don't want to be hypotheticals. So they advance fire. I'm not sure how the hell Gavin missed that advanced fire shot. I gotta be telling you.
That's
Oh, that's a 12. That's a 12. That's a 12.
I got some false hope.
Chris.
So,
Yeah. Chris was watching too many of Mark's games.
Yeah. Just about. But they took care of that. So
yeah,
okay.
Look at this.
So we're going to the building, just kick him in the teeth.
Look at this nastiness.
I know. It was ugly. It was ugly. It was also brief.
Yeah, look what he did here. Look what Chris is doing here.
Yeah.
Again, if he ties them up, even if he doesn't kill them over here, then he only has 2 shots going off. And this is aggressiveness at the right time, because all this is stone buildings, and you can move in on those guys in stone buildings. I think yeah, so that's a melee, and we vaporize the guy on the right.
Look what happened there.
Yeah.
I got snakes again, and I shot Mulroney.
Yeah. Snakes. Oh. That's nasty. So guy in the middle broken. This is tough.
Defensive fire phase took out my machine gun, and then it was just basically just a walk off.
Yeah.
And after that, he also won the close combat, and so by the time it was over and done with, the Citadel sort of in the center with a medium machine gun. He couldn't go anywhere because failure to route, so each and every one of my units was gone by the end of the game.
Yeah, but that's okay. But Chris was super aggressive in here and just went after your guys in close combat. He probably allocated half his force to say, I'm going through the village and punching everybody in the face and going for that, and he's going to have a dual-pronged attack. Guys in the village or guys in the wheat field. John's got to make a choice on who to fire at. You know, he had to make a hard choice in N6. U6 the same way. Do I fire at the guy in the open, or do I fire at the giant stack that's going to vaporize me? I don't know what target he shot, but that's a hard choice to make. That's super hard.
I'm sure I shot at the 10-2. Just
right now.
More of that manna from heaven that Craig likes to call on.
Now order of fire. I don't know if this stack fired on the 10-2 or not. Do you remember if he fired on that guy or not? Or did he fire somewhere over here?
No, I think what happened was he took out Mulroney because he had a squad and a leader down there at the edge of the wheat field in S10. So that was a prep fire shot.
Oh, down here.
And then defensive fire from the 10-2 stack. 10-2 stack from Gavin. That's what broke my medium machine gun stack in R7.
Yeah, good deal. And so that's apparently what Chris did is, you got an 8-0. It's a little shitty 8-0 that's going for the exit, or you got a 10-2 eliminating all your units. Which one do you pick? Yep. That's a hard choice. That's a hard choice. And considering
my whole defensive scheme was set up to okay, I know there's one spot on the board he has to go to, and so I'm going to focus everything on that. So anything that got close to there, I was going to try to cover with maximum firepower.
Yeah, but again, I like say the box defense was fine, and Chris's attack on that was just as good. I really like the close combat and aggression on the inside to pin these guys down. To distract from these guys. It's like, okay, you're either shooting me point blank or you're taking a shot against these guys, and if you miss, you're going to be taking it up the wazoo right here. So at that point, he essentially gave John a bunch of hard decisions to make from here, and that's what you guys need to do. Give your opponents hard choices to make. Do I want to fire on the 7-0 running over here? that has no firepower, that's part of the victory conditions, or do I take the 747? You know, I think most of us would take the 747. I would probably also take the 747, to be honest with you. And then the 7-0, say, I'll just worry about him later. But give them a choice and make them make a tough decision. Dice be as what they may, they'll roll how they roll, but you have to make him a tough decision one way or the other. I like the guys in the open ground over here, point blank in the open. A lot of guys would fire at the guy in the open, or, you know, if you break the big guy, this guy's still looking at, you know, 12 firepower plus 3. So it's tough decisions to make. I like good game. Again, from the difference of the first game, different setup, different approach. The Americans come on hard and fast. The Germans tried their best, and it just didn't work out for them in this particular scenario. So
let me point out one thing. If you take a look at the board real quick,
okay,
you'll notice that it wasn't until turn 5 when I took out Osberg and one of his accompanying squads. That was the first KIA I had in the entire game.
Yep.
And so he was able to do an almost perfect approach, and he had stuff very, very close to the victory hex before I was able to land a punch that registered anything.
Right.
It really amazed me just to see how he was able to rally and maneuver his forces, and he got his entire intact force, you know, just really, really, really close in before anything was able to.
And that's exactly one of the notes I had, John. That's a great analysis. I've got good pressure on defender, and he's shoving you back. I think the biggest move Chris made was the 7-0 and the 747 moving into M6. Not the 9-2 on the bottom, not the guys in the middle, not the 10-2. The biggest move was the M6 guy jumping him over there. And and that one, essentially what you do is now you're in his back door. Now and you had to move back a little bit, and he followed you and he jumped you in close combat. He took a couple 12 shots, you know, 12 firepower shots, because that's point blank, you know, and that's what you have to do. But he's got the best terrain to do that. If he had to do that in open ground or woods, he's going to get hammered for it. But he used the terrain to his advantage with a minimal force. Okay, people, minimal force did he send in that area. If that guy broke, would it made a difference? It could have made a difference, no. But with that distraction, and let's say the 9-2 didn't break. Let's say one of those guys broke and he got one squad through. He's got a squad in a 747 that can get to O10, and is O10 within range of R7. Yep, that's a 4-hex range, and the 9-2 could set up camp there and fire on you at 6+1, which is going to get results in a couple turns. So that was like a win-win. Things that you guys needed to look for in your games as well. And again, a good hard fight right there. But I like the aggression through the town. That was really, really kind of cool. The pressure wasn't put on R7 until like one shot, and you know, 10-2 with 2 squads is going to be doing that. So we're on to the next game with this is Tony's and Steve's. Tony and Steve's, since they're both here.
Okay, Stu, just let us know when we can sync up.
Okay, you ready?
Oh, ready?
Yep.
Okay.
I think I saw you guys just randomly rolling in the beginning of the game. I think I saw 7 6s in a row in this one here. I think they were just rolling dice and just for whatever, and I saw 7 6s in a row. It's like, okay, oops. So this is another interesting setup here. And this is the Wheatfield one that I want to guys go at. So is everyone with us here?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I don't even know who the defender. Tony, are you the defender or Steve's the defender?
I think
I'm the defender.
Steve, is defending in this one.
Okay. Tell me what you guys see.
You played this twice where you swapped sides.
Yeah, we did. We played twice. Each one of us took the Americans once.
Okay, tell me what you see that kind of jumps out at you guys in this particular scenario, just in the setup. Tell me what you see that makes it really interesting and really, I think it's something that you guys might need to start thinking about as well. What do you see that pops out on you? Boom, straight off, compared to the other games that we've already seen.
He's split his Gavin Maloney force. He's got a flanker out there on the far right.
Okay, that's one of them. Okay, let's go with the German side. The German
There's
side.
right in the middle of the wheat field.
Right in the middle of the wheat field. You guys
I know
might
that.
think, what the hell's he doing there? Well, that's a great spot. If he moves into AA2, what's the fire attack that we're looking at?
No, 8-1.
Oh, just right here. Going here. 2 X's away.
Flat.
Oh, that'd be up.
That's a 4 flat. Good chart. That's a good chart. If he pins him, he's screwed. If he gets a lucky with a 6, normal morale check, he's screwed, especially if the 8-0 wants to go that route. The 10-2, a little harder, but even if he gets a normal morale check, we all see that we could roll 10s, 11s, and 12s. If he rolls a normal morale check and that guy rolls a 10, he's pinned. Those other guys need to roll 7s not to, to be pinned. So once that 10-2 leader's out, that's the first thing I saw. It's like, wow, that's really cool. I like that sort of aggression in here. And if he breaks, what's the problem with him breaking?
Everybody there on the right could get stuck, just like it did for me.
Yeah, but does he have somewhere to go? Is he totally screwed if he breaks?
You can go back to that 8-0 lead.
Yeah, he's got the 8-0 leader. He's set up where he's preparing to break because he's facing 747s, and he's got where he's going to go. Right, that's 1, 3, or 1.5, 3, 5. Can he get shot at later? Yeah, possibly. But the 9-1 will then protect his back end. You've got massive firepower at point blank range, and you've got a flanking guy here just to keep the American honest, right? So I really like the idea of him putting a guy there, kind of thinking outside the box, and in terms of just covering a flank on that one there. So that's why I want to point out here. That's really jumped out at me. Say that's pretty cool. 8-1 over here. Good position as well. He covers the road and he covers the bullshit flank that the American likes to have over here. So a good.
Yeah, that didn't work out nearly as well as I'd hoped.
Yeah, that's where we get into where if the Americans get close, you're gonna pay.
Oh,
So Steve was banking a lot on this guy because all he's got is these 2 guys over here, but he has 4 guys over here. 4 to 6. 4 to 6 is good, especially if he's got first shots on him. 4 to 6, pretty good. So let's get on with them. My notes start on. Oh yeah. Wow. Yeah, German turn 1. Okay. So the Americans are pushing here hard and fast, and he first fires over there. Tries to pop that 10-2. He first fire. Drop a residual. Remember, drop your residual firepower, gentlemen. His first fire shots aren't quite so effective first round. Not a big deal. That's just the way it goes. But he did drop down his residual firepower. And again, of course, he breaks because 8 firepower plus 1 is kind of rough. But he's got a spot where he goes, and he goes right to our leader. Nice home. He's got some hot coffee for him, waiting for him back there. And then this guy's looking at point blank fire here. That's just the way it is. That's why they pay him big bucks. So now in this case here, gentlemen, this guy looks like he's pretty pinned. This guy's pretty pinned here. Would you split your firepower here, or would you fire 12 firepower on one guy, or go to 10-2? Because he's looking at a lot of firepower. This guy's going to have a bad day at the end of the defensive fire phase. So how would you, knowing that he's going to have a bad day, would you only want to trade 1 for 1, or maybe go for 2 for 1? Because if you fire the LMG over here, it's 6+6 no modifiers, and this is 8+1 with a 4.47. That's hopefully we don't cower, right? So I'm throwing the cowering out the door. So those would be 2 good shots. You can go 12+1. You go 6+1 back here. Again, this is a decision that you have to make based upon what you want to have done with your units. But this is where the American is making the German make a decision. And that's the point I was trying to make. He has to decide what he wants to do.
I brought stuff to make sandwiches and wraps. wraps.
Okay.
I have it all out if you want to come make yourself a sandwich.
All right, thank you, Mo. So this is just making the German have a bad day. Hopefully he took his Tylenol because he's gonna have a big headache here in just a second. Guy over here on the side, he's slowing the 747 up. If he backs up, that's fine. If he fires, that's probably just as fine as well. But again, game decision. I don't care what you do. We got a broken unit on the left-hand side. Again, another game decision on the left-hand side. That guy's surrounded by units. If he moves, he might break, but in this case, he just decides to fire and break guys before he might get annihilated. And he actually casually reduced that guy, it looks like. And so he did some casualties to him.
I think I should have fired at one of the two squads in B to kind of break up that fire group.
Okay.
I think I chose the wrong target after looking at that. I shot it.
Oh, right. It's pretty tough though, because you have a fire group either way, because you got these two 747s and these two 747s. So yeah, that's just rough. Again, the American puts Steve in a tough spot. That I didn't think that the American jump on him like that, but the advanced phase pays off, gentlemen. The advanced phase pays off. I thought this was just like, hey, that cool. That's covering the road, the whole 9 yards. Boom, let's go for it. And I saw moves like, oh shit, the Germans in trouble here. But tough decisions for the Germans to make. Do I move or do I fire? Okay, same thing over here. Do I move? Do I fire? Same tough decision both sides. So let's continue. And again, if you make your opponent make tough decisions, he's going to make bad decisions half the time. You're going to put him in a pickle most of the time. So let's go. I've got a note on German turn 1. So he breaks here. And there's all our 6s. I don't know what happened with that. But Steve's that's my ambush roll Steve's making.
It was random selection between the squad and the leader. And it was all those 6s followed by a 5 and then a 4 for the wound severity check.
Yeah, look at that shit rolls. Mark, no more complaining. No more complaining, Mark.
I guess
yeah, that set the tone here, I think.
That's I don't know what to say about that. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is that 7? 7 6s in a row? 7. I can't even count that many. I'm just blurred by all the 6s. 7 6s, a 5, and a 4. Yeah, okay, nice spot. But he eventually dies and breaks, right?
Oh yeah, that whole side dies very quickly.
All right, now one thing I don't know. Mark would be able to answer this question. When your unit dies, Mark, do you get a recovery right then in our starter kit?
I'm sorry. What was that?
Recovery of the support weapon. His unit died in C5. Does the leader get to pick up that weapon free? I don't know if that's a starter kit.
There's no provision for it in starter kit. No. The impression that is that the weapon drops to the ground and the leader has to attempt to gain possession of it in the rally phase.
Okay. So we'll throw that out the door. In ASL, when your unit dies, then a single man counter can try to recover it. The only reason why I bring it up is because the 8-0 you'll see retreat out of that situation. Look at that route there, gentlemen. Talk to me.
Wow.
Talk to me about this one here.
Route forward. Free movement phase,
Tony
baby.
Checking a box.
6 movements.
That was my proudest moment of the game.
Free movement phase. Absolutely good. Now, can these guys come over and kick his ass? Not with the 9-2 stand. There is not. So this would be a safe route forward, right? Because he's got supporting units. He got 8-1. These guys aren't going to come up and deal with this guy. Most likely, Well,
the Americans go next too.
Yeah, and the Americans go next. Absolutely, Tony. But this is what I want you guys to see. I mean, hell, he could have moved to F6 for all intents and purposes, but he's probably moved here so he can get down to the road when he rallies. That's my impression.
7-0. No, I wanted to be able to get to him with a 7-0.
Okay.
I put him somewhere where the 7-0 could get to him in the next turn.
There you go. So route forward. I really was impressed to see this. This is good. Instead of now, if you guys watch other starter kit games, And I don't want to see this in your games, right? If he routes back, the 7-0 is essentially stuck there until this guy gets off his ass. Now, we just wait. Does it matter whether we rally him this turn or next turn? German turn's going to come and go. He'll need a 7 to rally by himself in the American turn, too. So, and if that doesn't happen, the 7-0, the 9-2 will be on top of him, and we'll give him an 8 in the German turn after that. But again, the Germans most likely aren't going to attack. Not a problem. So I needed to point this out. Very important. This helps a lot. Also, let's say he had broken units here. That then when the German wants to route back here, he can't route here. Well, technically he could route there. Well, actually no, he's at LOS. So once he leaves his LOS, he can't even route there. But once he routes here, he can only route up through here. So it's really constricting if the Germans had any broken units where he could essentially end up. So although it didn't apply here, it can apply a lot of times. So we've got some. Now he's consolidating his units on the right hand side. 8-0. Look what happens here. 8-0 and 4-4-7 get the hell out of Dodge. Right? We need to rally units. These guys are probably a stand and die order. These guys need to probably get the hell out of Dodge. He's still got a lot of firepower on that right hand side. And there's a first fire up here. The 9-2 gets... Again, these 9-2 leaders are just... They just get popped. I mean, he got pinned and the unit broke on that left-hand side. Where's my note? American turn 3. Yep. Oh, yeah. Turn 3. Turn 3 is where I have some more notes. Look at that. That right-hand battle is just raging, guys. That's some serious firepower. Look what he did here. Did you see that last move?
Mm-hmm.
The 8-0.
Yep, just loop around. Yep. Order
of movement right here. These guys, I don't know if they tried smoke. I don't know if these guys tried smoke. If their intent was to go forward, assault move there or whatever, and just take fire, that's fine. But you could assault like if this unit assault moved, and then he could drop smoke in his own hex, right? Because that would stop this unit from whatever. Like let's say this unit had more fire, or he didn't fire on him, and he wanted to fire somewhere else because he thought the 8-2 or 10-2 was going to make a move. If he drops in his own hex, the 10-2 would have cover from a potential smoke that's in that location there. If he assault moves, you can still drop the smoke because you have three. You have only one movement factor in your own hex. Now, if he got shot at and then he tried to drop smoke, he would be attacked by the residual firepower like we covered last week. But that's fine. But that's just something to consider. But these guys took shots, and the 8-0 order of movement. The 8-0 moves after those guys have shot, and now he's moving to surround him. So, and that's kind of what you want to see to make sure this guy's clean. Now, if this guy breaks here, I'll obviously have to route back. But if these guys break later on, we've got a leader with us, essentially moving forward for all intents and purposes. It's a good shot there. We're coming up on turn 3. I think I'm in turn 3.
So as you pointed out, Stu, in the first game you reviewed, I made a mistake by not having my longer range units on this flank. And that becomes a problem shortly.
Right. Look at this 4-4-7 here. Right? Although the Americans aren't moving up here, that could be an issue. That's a potential. You got a machine gun here, but every little hex counts. And we got our 4-6-7s on the left-hand side that are firing at 2 hexes or 3 hexes. So that's something to think about here. Now take a look at this situation over here. Look at this just for half a second. Tell me what you see on the left-hand side flank.
I see a pin leader and a broken squad.
What about down the bottom left?
Oh.
And what inclusive? The entire thing inclusive. So you've got 2 squads. Essentially, you have 2 squads that are functional in this sort of situation. What do you have here in this 9-2 leader? This shows up in another game. This is where you might consider redefining your game plan. Did we get screwed here? Oops, I'm typing 6s because I'm typing the wrong. Did we get hammered here?
Mm-hmm.
We paid a price over here. We might think about making the Americans pay a price here. We just might. Again, if he loses both of these leaders, let's say these 2 units die, but they kill both of these 2 leaders. Not that they could. I think they can get the 9-2. Let's say we break the 7-0, which is easy to break. But if we kill both of these 2 leaders on this side, do we care about that flank over anymore?
Well, I mean, you care a little bit. I mean, if squad gets off, then that's certainly something. But you know, he's going to have to try to get one of the leaders off from the other side.
Right. At that point, let's say if we kill them by turn 3, these guys can then counter exhaust and set up an R7 or set up down here. We don't even care about the backside because we just saw in all the games, most of these guys take most of their turn, especially if both leaders are gone. They're not moving 6 hexes unless they're CXing.
Right. Yeah. It doesn't matter how many squads he gets off. If he doesn't get a leader off, he wins the game. Yeah.
And at that point, we only have 2 hexes we're going to focus all of our firepower on, are the 2 leader hexes. Because the Americans must move a leader off the board. And so that was kind of the focus in Mark's game, where the 7-0 could switch his role from movement to strictly, I'm getting the leader off first, and now I don't have to worry about my leaders getting off at all because I've already qualified for that. If the Germans can take that away, or at least take 1 away, especially in my -2, this 7-0 is going to have a tough day taking some fire from even 2 squads. You know, will they get broken? He does have a significant force over here still, but the 7-0, and plus he'll re-DM this unit if one of these units, you know, assault moves, advanced phases, he'll re-DM that unit. Can he rally? Yeah, but this guy's probably going to be a self-rally. And will he be slightly out of position? Yeah, maybe. The Americans can come over here, but he could always go to the backside over here and just CX, or just essentially make it to P6 before they can get over there. Just something to consider. You know, if you have an opportunity like this where a powerful piece can be eliminated, sort of like the broken unit down here, where we had the units move here to kill that unit for free, take advantage of those things. You know, here it kind of bit him in the butt a little bit. Can this bite you in the butt? Yeah, but a 9-2 leader by himself, that you want to, just like this 8-1 over here, he's going to catch it, but do the same thing to the Americans. You lose 1 here, and if you take care of this guy, especially since you took 1 early for the team, you might consider that. I'm not saying that's the best choice. I'm just saying you might consider that, considering he's got no cover units up there.
Yeah. The way it played out, it would have been worth going to get him.
Yeah, and in
my opinion.
Yeah, exactly. So, plus, especially over here on the right-hand side, he's got most of his force broken, and essentially he has 1 2 squads. So he only, for all intents and purposes, he has 4 squads left in the game. You might then say, okay, it might reach the point of desperation. I need to kill specific units now instead of to have an overall general defense. I don't know if that happens or not, but just something that I want you guys to be able to see and say, oh, he's vulnerable. I can go kill him. But what happens to my defense if I go kill him? Take those next steps. You guys have your plan. Stick with your plan. You know, at that point, at that point, you know, if your plan is to fully drop back, you might say, okay, if I lose 1 squad and take out a squad and a leader, or at least casually reduce the guy, and this guy can move over like here, you probably don't want to do that. But DM this guy, so essentially he's only got 2 squads in operation. So now, think of the decision making you need to have for the Americans. Let's say the 1 German squad goes up here, jumps this guy to close combat, and the other one simply moves over here to F6, right? DMs this unit. He's not going to rally for all intents and purposes. He's going to actually, if the American moves here, it's the American turn. Sorry. So the American turn is routing. Yeah, and then he advances. So let's go to the advance phase. So we're going to jump in close combat, and that guy jumps over there. Okay, that's fine. And the Americans advance over here. Nice, good wall. Nice, solid wall of bad boys. So we've got this situation here. we can eliminate that unit and kill the 9-2 this turn.
Does he rally? I don't remember if I rallied him or not.
Oh, he might. He actually might.
Might have rallied.
Hopefully you don't.
It looks like I didn't. No, I did not rally that.
Okay. Yeah, I think there's one instance where the same sort of thing applies. The guy rallies. So he's in trouble. He can be eliminated. Mark.
Here we go. Yep.
Close combat. 7-1. Tony,
Yep.
tell me what happens. Tony, what happens in your close combat in this hex?
In this one, I think I don't win it. I think I end up getting tied up for an extra turn. I
Yeah.
can't remember, to be honest with
Tony rolls an 11 and doesn't
Yeah,
kill him in
well,
close combat and ties him
yeah,
up. That's why the melee's there.
Wow. There you go. Yeah.
So, and oh yeah, the 337 is the one that rallied. The 337 is the one that you advanced them in there and they rallied. So so essentially you've got a tied up unit, which is really crazy, and you've got essentially a squad and a half here. So at this point, at the Americans, I'd be gripping, hoping that the Germans don't counterattack and surround me and kill me, because both of these units are gone at the end of the German turn. These units, then, what you have then, this guy's going to be gone at the end of the turn. The Germans are going to be here, and the Americans will be here. Will he push forward? Yeah, probably. He's either going to push forward or cut the Germans off from coming back that way. Right? So, but this is a precarious position for the Americans, because if and when the 9-2 comes back to R7, these guys are going to have a tough time getting off if he's the only one there. But again, the Americans are doing well on the right-hand side. So, again, it's precarious for both players on both sides. And the note that I have down here is there's a really huge dichotomy in how the battle's going on both sides of this map. And if your overall defense, like John's overall defense, was to collapse back, collapse back, collapse back, here, if the tables turn in your favor, you might think about changing the plan or something. So, hey, I could kill units and then reduces their number of guys, and then I'm back. Because is this guy going to rally next turn? Is G4 going to rally next turn?
If he's not DM, yes.
If he's not DM, he needs an 11 to rally. An 11. He's rallying. So you're looking at a 747 and 9-2 leader in front of your face again. So if you just stay there, you're going to be taking a 6+1. Not a terrible shot, and this guy's going to be making a move. So just think about that. You could fall back. I don't even know what happens. I don't even remember. But I just want to point things out. If you see something you can get away with, try to make sure that if you can, without losing much for it. Now, if it causes him to really be way out of position, that's a game decision you guys have to make. But I just want you guys to be aware of when this sort of situation appears. I want you to look at it and evaluate it based on your game plan. Do I go for it or do I ignore it? Same thing happens in another game. So we'll continue with this one. And, yep. Oh, one other thing that happens in this game over here. Okay, so he moves back, not a problem. And that's what he's doing. He's probably sees the guys over here. Okay, you know, I need to go on that side because, you know, I'm taking up better positions. Not a problem. So the American does exactly what he's doing. He's splitting them up, splitting the attacks, makes it hard for the Germans to make a decision. And the Americans are pushing. Turn 3 over there. And next turn, we're going to cover the right-hand side, and then we'll be done with this one here. Okay, Germans are defending back. He skulks here. Good idea. Don't want to take a 12+3 for nothing. Or any of the other shots. He's trying to minimize the damage that he's going to be taking. Again, long range from our leader over here. Long range fire, assault move. That'll be a 6 even. You know, better than a 12+3 and a 6+2. You know, 2 shots versus 1 shot. You know, minimize the risk. And if he breaks here, what happens? If he moves here and breaks, let's say he was going to skulk back and skulk back in. If that was his plan, but he breaks here, what does that allow him to do? it allows him to route away from these guys,
Guys, yeah.
right? Because if he's here, I mean, he could ignore these hexes and he could still kind of go back, but that's one less hex that he can route. He can make it a pretty good distance. He could actually make it the entire way here. That's 2. Well, actually, he'd probably have to go here. He might be able to discount that, but he's going back away from the Americans, coming back, and hopefully, you know, this guy can, you know, the Americans will probably move here next turn, and he might be able to self-rally, or the 8-0, whatever. So, even if he's just skulking, even if he breaks, that it still allows him, you know, to take advantage of that break and get back to where he's going, maybe one wants to go. So, but it's a good skulk move. I think he just moves forward. So he jumps back in here. Good solid defense now. What's the defense of these guys? We got orchards in front and we got stone buildings.
Yep.
10 -2 can't even scratch these guys. Out of range, that's +5 against this guy, +4 against this guy. 6 +4. The 10 -2 is not even firing. Good defense. Make a good use of that orchard.
Steve did a really good job in this one, I think, extracting those guys from the woods and getting them back into those buildings. I remember when we played, I was a little frustrated with trying to kill those guys over there, and the next thing I knew, they were all back in those stone buildings waiting.
Yeah, good solid. Same thing. Solid defense on this right-hand side. Cutting you off, knowing that you only have 10 firepower. Now, this guy's coming late to the party, but, you know, this is nothing to spit at. You've only got 3 units. And he has essentially 4 shots if you move adjacent to him. I mean, this guy might pose a problem, but if these guys can handle these guys early, he's not going to be a problem. 9 -2, notwithstanding, he's not going to be a problem if these guys are handled. So good. This is not a problem right here. And plus, you get the 8-0. This is a free. This, for all intents and purposes, is a free unit right now. He's a floater. He could make the Americans say really bad. Again, very dynamic battle in this one. Tale of 2 stories here. Okay, let me back this up real quick. So we got oh, that screwed up already. God dang it. We got a 3-3-7 here. I was gonna try and back up. He's got a 4 here. Hopefully those units will lock back in. Again, we got 1 broke here and 4 residual over here. Not a problem. First fired. Pay attention on the right-hand side, gentlemen. I think this is this is the key. American turn 4. I think so. Yeah. 10-2's making his way. He first fires. Okay, we've got a bunch of American units. If they get point blank on us, what's going to happen to us?
Oh, just sit tight. You'll see in a second.
Yeah. What's gonna happen? Okay, so he made this guy coward. Looks like he cowered and he first fired. And he somebody pins. 10 -2 goes there. Do we final protective fire on the 10 -2 from this unit here?
Yes.
It's a tough spot, right, guys? That's a tough decision to make. Yes or no would be a correct answer. It all depends on what you want. That's a tough one. He's got 10 morale. You have to roll 7 or less to do that. To do anything like that. That's going to be a 4 -1. So, and most likely he could pass a morale check. So, let's just say he doesn't want to, for all intents and purposes. But he knows you're first fired. We've got a shitload of guys in our face. Now, do we final protective fire against this guy over here?
Well, I mean, if you final protective fire right now, you can't affect this. You can't affect this, correct?
Right, and the leader does not affect the units moving.
That is true.
If he takes a morale check, you do not get the -2 for the leader.
Yep.
So he's very vulnerable. 4 -1, final protective fire. When he fires back at us, it's going to be 8 +1 on us. That's a tough chart. If we break, we're dead. If we break, we're dead. This is where you got to grip. When these guys are kind of like left behind to shoot and die, I would say this would be a very good point where you want to use your final protective fire, especially since he's not with the leader. This guy's a lone floater. And then we continue. That guy does final fire. And I think he leaves, that'd be 2, 1. Yeah, no residual. That's fine. So you see how the Americans are jumping on him? If you didn't final fire on this guy, you have to final fire on this guy. Like I'm saying, maybe he didn't want to break. Maybe he could think he's going, but this gets this to be. Now he did final fire there. A good 3, rip that guy a new one. That's a good thing, a very good thing. 8-0 comes up, 747 runs aside. So the one shot that he didn't make, got it good. So he minimized the Americans' ability to try and come back on us. I might take the risk of final firing there if he thought that he could get good shots on the other ones. That's fine. The guy in the back's pinned. He's not going to be adding any firepower, and he's not going to be adding to any attack anyway. So this guy in the back is nullified for that turn. But the next turn, we hope maybe he's hoping for next turn. What I saw is I saw all 4 747s jumping on us, and that would be a bad thing. So game decision you make, that's a tough one. You know, the Americans gave a decision to the Germans. All right, you're final fired. Now, when you fire at me, you're making a decision to take a morale check. So essentially, the Americans get a free morale check out of the Germans. Now, the Germans can fire forever, but he gets a free morale check out of them for that quote benefit. Tough decision. Anytime you final protected fire, gentlemen, it's a tough decision. It's really tough, even with 8 morale units, because you never know when you're gonna roll that 9. And then he's got some good units over here, taking a shot. And look at close combat. This is this is when the shit hits the fan, people.
Yep. The
4
fastest
close
4
combats.
in starter kit history.
4 close combats, dude. So we got a melee. We got an evaporation down here. Oops. Look at the 9-2. Squawks his roll. Rolls a 10 on that one. And the other one gets a kill there. So he got killed, and the other. And look what happened. Who got tied up in melee? 2 leaders. 2 leaders. 2 leaders got tied up in melee. So, but that's okay. I mean, 747s are not going to be in melee for very long. It's going to be America turn 5. They need to die in the German turn. I'm not sure if they do or not. Guy in the middle. Prep fires. Yeah. Oh, we got a broken guy here. Is he out of the game? Yeah, probably. Probably for a little while, unless he gets a lucky rally. First fire here. Again, 447 coming to close the gap. I like that. Takes a risk there, but he thought that the risk needed to be happened because the Americans got to come through the wheat field. That's a lot of movement factors. So, I like the 447 jumping over here. Plus, he's got 2 leaders, and he lost a guy in close combat. So, pretty much for all intents and purposes, he has no one on that flank. Here comes the crew. This is rough. I say this is rough for what reason? The stacking of these units is very rough. I would probably not do that. Tell me why. You've
2 squads at 10-2 and the 8-0. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
You've got both leaders. You've got both leaders in the same location. And this isn't a given over here on this side over here at all. Risky. This is risky. Do you have? That's probably like 1 wheat field. That's 1 wheat field hex. It looks like 1 wheat field. That could be a problem. If he breaks the 8-0, then he only has to worry about the 10-2 because the 8-0 won't be back in the game. The 8-0 will be out of the game. So now he's got 1, 2, 3 leaders to worry about instead of 4. So just something to think about. Or he could wait until defensive fire phase and get them both on the same shot. So he won't get the non-assault movement, but he'll get an 8 even shot on those units. We all know with our 10 morale leaders, I don't like my 10 morale leaders being subject to any morale checks because I can't pass them worth a shit. And is he strong? Yeah, but it's rough. If both these guys break, then you've got 2 units on this side that he only has to focus on. So he's moving forward. The Germans are doing the best they can. to hold these guys off. Love the wall of residual firepower. Wall of residual firepower, people. 747, where's he going? Don't know. Probably not very far. Now, 1, 2, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, okay. I'm trying to look for a spot there. Okay, he had he final protect his fires here. Unfortunately, what'd you roll, Steve?
Boxcars, I believe.
Yeah, he rolls boxcars. Unfortunately. So he did the right thing, trying to blast these guys. The dice just weren't with him. He rolls a boxcars, and it goes south pretty quick. At least for those guys. But yeah, it goes really, really bad because they can't even route backwards. So we're doing good there. So not a problem. That's a shot to take. It's the same sort of decision making on the right hand side as you have on the left hand side. Good shot. That was a good shot to take. The 7-0 is like right here. Yeah. So you just happened to roll unluckily. And again, both leaders are in the same spot, and he prep fires on them. That's an 8-1. Unfortunately, Steve's rolls high again. This could have been pretty rough on this side. And then let's see. Last American turn, he gets pinned, and then he first fires. 4 here. Okay, this is what we're gonna learn. This is what I learned the other day with Mark. You have 4 residual firepower in our exit hex. We have 1 broken unit. Our 10-2s probably moving to exit. Okay, what can we do with the 9-2 first to help him get off?
Throw smoke in that hex, I guess.
Throw smoke in the 4 residual firepower. What happens to that 4 residual firepower? It becomes a 4-2 to a what?
4 up 1.
4 up 1. 10-2 is going to walk through that. He's going to bathe in that 4+1.
Oh yeah, okay.
And that's what that's what I learned last week when Mark was talking about the smoke. 4 up 1 versus 4 down 2. That's a +3 difference. So
I think the reason I didn't do that though was I wanted, in case the 10-2 and the squad broke, I wanted to be able to run the 9-2 off.
You still could, right? If you go 1, 2, 3, and then move in at 4, 5, and then the 9-2 could actually move off by himself. Because
the 9-2 is not good enough. He needs a squad.
Right, but he has a squad under him.
But they lay smoke. Can they still get off if they lay smoke?
Yeah, if you move together, you have
1,
6 movement
2,
factors,
3.
right? 1, 2, 3, and then enter 4, 5, and then 6.
Oh, and then advance off.
Yeah.
Oh, 6. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Or
I'm with you.
or you could CX. Let's say you don't have the 9-2. You could CX this unit. He could go 1 and drop a 1-2 because the CX adds 1.
Right.
And then 3, 4, 5. He could possibly do that. Again, that's only because the thing.
Yeah, this is for you.
Oh, thank you.
Because I started drinking it, but changed my mind. So.
No worries. It's too much sugar.
Yeah.
So, this is only because I only thought of this is because of our last week's session. I hadn't actually thought of it before, but that's something that you could nullify. And you use it in any game. Let's say you're crossing. Let's say you're playing retaking Veerville, right? And he's got shitloads of residual firepower on the hexes here, and you need to get across. Throw up some smoke on it. Essentially becomes a 4+1 or 2+1. You can walk through that shit all day long.
I fired in V6 was a mistake too. I think I should have run up and tried to put smoke in his machine gun hex with that guy also. I was thinking about that later.
Right. Again. Yeah. That's what we're covering. Yeah. We're gonna. So he goes up there and he gets off. So that's fine. And then they called the game right there. Which is fine because he's got 1 squad. Most likely the 337 is going to jump into close combat to pin him up. And then the 8-0 can run off there, and then 9-2 I think can run off as well. Not a problem there. He caught some bad luck early. Now look at the end game situation. Okay, we have our units eliminated from this side over here, right? Our 4-6-7s that we had over here are gone here. Now, of course, this is like looking back. Let's say we use those units to kill these units. These guys are no longer in the game, right? The 9-2 and 7 are no longer in the game, and this is where, when you reflect upon your Vassal logs, you can say, okay, what can I change differently and maybe make a difference. The snake eyes and the 12s and the things like that, don't even think about those dice rolls. They don't matter. They don't matter at all. You know, they just don't. Let's say we eliminate these guys, right? That when this guy was broken up in here, these guys get eliminated by our squads when we surrounded him, and those squads ended up being eliminated over here anyway. So even if we went up there and they just got eliminated for like whatever, they were dropping a mine. So the same force got over here, right? We didn't. We had 9-2. What happened to what do we have over here that we rolled a 12 on?
Final fire.
Final fire. Who did we final fire at? The 9-2.
Right.
9-2. And I'm not saying that, you know, what you did was right or wrong, but just see how the game, by using your Vassal logs, okay, say, okay, that's something I don't want to do, but let me check the Vassal log at the end of the game to see if I could have done something a little differently. Would it make a difference in the game? Maybe, maybe not. But think of it this way. These guys get eliminated. Our 2 squads are eliminated anyway, so that's a wash. That's what you know. That's the risk, is if I move them up here, I might be out of the game, or I might get eliminated by the other squads he has here. So let's say that's a wash. The 747 or the 447, the 80 is here, and he's got like a squad and a half and a leader. At that point, who do those guys shoot at, and who do they only shoot at? They only shoot at that 7-0.
Right.
They only shoot at that 7-0 because the 9-2 is just going to rip him a new one because the building doesn't exist. So he had to fire at the final protective fire out a unit that he could possibly have eliminated early in the game. And -2 leaders are essentially the equivalent of like 3 squads. I think it's like some of these guys like were these articles like 50 years ago. So so it's really powerful in that aspect. So just kind of reflect on that when you guys replay your log, and this log's on the archive as well. Replay this log and see what that 447 and 80 could have done or been alive. If they break the 7-0, at that point, he's only firing at these guys coming off over here. He's only firing at the 80 and the 10-3 or 10-2 because all these leaders are gone at this point. So just again, that's how we use our logs to reflect back. Okay, let's assume I can do this. How would the American proceed? And then just kind of play the game as the Americans. Okay, Americans probably bust ass to the exit anyway, because that's where he's got to go. If the Americans come up after you, that's a win. You killed his 9-2 in his squad, and he's going away from his victory conditions. He can't afford to chase you. He has to continue moving this way. So now you may be behind the 8 ball, but if you get to this position or this position, and he's still kind of troubling through here, remember what we said about P6 and Q6? Even if those are 447s, that's a 4-hex range.
Yep.
He can still come here. We don't even need anybody down here. You know, the reason why this guy came this way is because the Americans had a strong force. I wouldn't take any -2 shots up here. I would do exactly the same thing. That was a really good move. That 80 came from the right-hand side. He saved as many units as possible by putting himself into a good rally position. The units moved to him and rallied, and he got the hell out of Dodge. The other 2 units tried to stop those units as best as possible. I think they did a really good job doing that. And then he came over here to help a side that completely collapsed. This is the sort of adjustment you guys need to look for and try to make in your games. And the timing is very key. The timing is very key. He got to a key position. He just happened to have a bad dice roll. But so that's kind of what we're looking at in that aspect. Now, if both of these leaders were gone, would he need to move over here? I don't know. He could have possibly stayed here and still cover the exit hex or move here. I don't know. That's something you guys can analyze in the log file. But good game. This is a good game, and sort of just like in taking into considerations, when shit hits the fan, if you make a slight adjustment that might take you out of your plan, evaluate that to see if it can give you an advantage. Maybe your opponent goes bonkers because he loses his 9-2 leader. I know some players that will just quit. You know, 10-2 gone first turn because of some bullshit shot. I quit. You know, Mark, he lost his 10-2 right here. That son of a bitch rallied again. He broke. He rallied again. He just came right on back. He kept on fighting, and that's what you have to do. Keep on fighting. So
I wouldn't have quit, but I would have whined a lot.
That's all right.
I was fighting, trust me.
As long as you pay for the cheese. As long as you pay for the cheese, that's fine. That's fine. Good cheese. That's some cheap shit. Not Velveeta.
Not tam with some nice Triscuits. Oh yeah, that's really good.
All right.
Yeah.
So that was a good solid game in determining that this game was different than the others where one side was these are completely two different games you're playing here. I mean, one side was just crazy difference between the games. So any questions on any of the games? Do you guys that have played the games that are still here, do you guys have any other comments that say, hey, I was thinking this or that or whatever? It doesn't really matter.
I've got one general comment, and basically when we started this game of the month thing, I said, well, it'd be interesting to see just how much I get out of this. I'm actually surprised how much more I actually feel like I'm getting out of this concept. Watching 3 or 4 different games being stepped through, and okay, they tried that worked, this didn't. I feel like it's this is big bang for the buck right here.
Yeah.
Really enjoying this.
Yeah, I agree, John.
I'd like to add on with that. This was a great idea, and tonight was one of your best Tactical Tuesdays.
Nice.
Very, very focused. A lot of really good thing, and comparing the different styles of play and different tactical actions has been really valuable. I mean, other ones where you talked about rules and things like that, that's all great. This has been all tactics. It's been fantastic.
Right. And again,
certainly it's very different. Yeah, very different focus from that standpoint. Yeah, you're just kind of just watching a game as it flows and figuring out, what you do in the spur of the moment sort of thing.
Right.
Great to watch.
And what I like about it is that you're not just looking at, because we all play the same game, we all know what we did in our games. Mm-hmm. And so we're focused on how other players, because you may have thought of other strategies. Hey, I want to set my guys up back, or I want to set them up front, or whatever like that. And then you played your game and you lost or you won. It's like, well, what would have happened if I had done the other thing? And that's what's showing in these games. Everyone's got a different setup. All the Americans are attacking slightly differently. Mark tries to pull a 7-0 through the town. It happened not to work out. I would have loved to have seen him get that 7-0 and really cause havoc. It just didn't work out. But then again, I think who was it? Chris got a guy through town, and we saw how that worked out for him. He was playing aggressive that way. The different strategies that came together. But I agree. I didn't know what to expect coming into this, and I didn't know what to expect that would be on the backside. But after watching this particular game, and I've got some other strategy concepts based on the particular scenario and based on what you guys did, really, and what we covered last week, I think really breaks the scenario because we have 5 games with 10 good players, and what we discussed just with our rules discussions before about dropping smoke. I didn't even think about that, about essentially, the entire focus is throwing firepower in that exit hex. Well, guess what? The Americans throw smoke on it and nullify that shit. They nullify it. Fire all you want there, Germans. We nullify that. So, knowing that that's a possibility, you got a 10-2, 9-2 leader running with squads off the board. A 4+1 for 9-2 leader? Come on, that's a joke. You'd have to roll a 5 for a morale check. That's not going to happen. At that point, he walks off the board. The bullets kind of bounce off his back as he's going. Especially 10-2. So I hadn't seen that. In this scenario the entire time until last week's discussion of the smoke, and then reflecting on what we learned then. And I just learned that kind of today. That kind of popped in my head when I was setting up. It's like, wait, Mark's smoke example comes into play. This breaks it for the Americans. If the Americans could just throw smoke on that one hex, he's golden. I was wholly surprised about what we got out of this so far. Then what I don't even know how to present the shit. It's like, okay, I just want to give you a general idea about remembering what the victory conditions are, focusing on the victory conditions, and then that's about it. And looking at the OBs, and we just barely touched on, range and things like that, and how mostly everybody had really good units and really good positions. And so that was very key. It's not like seeing a flamethrower, in open ground, charging in open ground. We got 6 hexes to go, like in a simple equation. Yeah, that's not where you want to put your flamethrower, sort of thing. I didn't see anything out here. I didn't see any of that here. Even the 8-1 over the LMG on the left-hand side, I didn't see that guy getting pounced on. I didn't see that happening. I thought that guy was in really good position. The Americans just said, "Screw it, I'm going for it," and he went for it. And but really good stuff, guys. Really good stuff. I really love this. I'll try to burn through it, and so we could, and that way we'll leave. We only have 2 scenarios remaining on that, and then we can talk tactics about what I kind of pulled from this, what I learned from maybe the best way to attack based on your guys' things. Although the Americans have won and lost, essentially doing the same sort of thing, and we could throw thoughts on that based on what everyone's experience has been in these scenarios. And again, when people say that you can't learn anything from a Vassal log, laugh at them and say, you keep deleting you keep not creating logs. You know, I'll look at my own logs and learn what I could do, what I can't do, and things like that. So this just goes to show you the power of Vassal logs, and especially the power of a group of really good guys that when combined together and sitting down, chatting about their games, and in a friendly environment where we just squeeze every freaking ounce of juice out of that orange, and we take it for what it's worth, and that's about it. And we'll continue next week with my notes. I got my book of notes right here, so take care, gentlemen, and thank you for the timer.
You too, Stu. Thank you.
I went late on those things,
folks. Thank you so much, Stu.
All right, take care, gentlemen.
Take care, guys.
And we'll see you next week.